Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm very happy to see you today. I'm working today on a class that I'm going to be developing over the next while. And it's going to be a class that has to do with stress release, happily, and also change. And rather than thinking about letting things go, we can actually think maybe more affirmatively about welcoming things in. One of my friends, Betsy Worland, many years ago wrote a book called Open is Broken. And I think many of us are feeling quite broken. The kind of global politics are really arresting and destabilizing. So I like the idea of thinking about what it means to be broken as opening up to something new, to change. And I'm just going to sit here for a moment. I'm going to read one short passage from Pema Chodron. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to invite you to inhale into your belly, and then into your ribs, and then into your chest. So it's an inhalation, a three-part inhalation: belly, ribs, chest, and then an exhalation that's like a draining down. So an opening, and then an exhalation. Sorry, do something with the dog. And this is so if you just continue breathing, this is the lovely quote from Pema Chodron. How are we going to spend this brief lifetime? Are we going to strengthen our well-perfected ability to struggle against uncertainty? Or are we going to train in letting go? Are we going to hold stubbornly onto I'm like this and you're like that? Or are we going to move beyond that narrow mind? Could we start to train as a warrior, aspiring and welcoming in, aspiring to reconnect with the natural flexibility of our being and to help others do the same? If we start to move in that direction of openness, limitless possibilities will begin to open up. So I'm just going to trap my little doggy in. Great. In your baby. Good girl. And we're going to begin working on tabletop. So we'll move into tabletop here. And we're going to, sometimes we just do cat and cow, but this time we're actually just going to move our hips around and our shoulders, swirling around, imagining that we are that infinity sign, that we're able to move up and down, back and forth, in all kinds of directions. So, and I'm asking myself, what am I inviting in so that I can stress less? So this is an invitation to allow a little bit more flow into our lives. Now, here we're going to just move here. We're going to move our right foot forward. And we're going to lift the back heel up, or you can leave that back knee down. So you decide what you want to do. And we're just going to twist towards that knee in the front. And here I've just got my hand on my thigh, and I'm twisting towards that knee. And I'm breathing here. And I'm thinking about the openness I felt when I had that three-part breath. That the interior of my body is opening up. and inviting my breath in. Good. And now we're going to go back and we're going to go into plank. So we're developing strength here and stability, steadiness, as well as change. And now we're pushing back into a downward dog, but we're just keeping our knees bent here. We don't have to have too much strain here as we push back. And now let's go up into a downward dog, our first of the day. Just moving our hips around here, feeling that openness, inviting fluidity in our body. We can bend one knee and then the other. We can move our shoulders. We can dangle our head and move our head. And now I'm just going to lift the opposite leg up and bring it forward. And then bring that back knee down and come over into a twist on the other side. Good, and we can really open our shoulders up here. And depending on your neck, you can look up if you like, you could look straight ahead. But here we are feeling the fluidity of our body, its ability to make all kinds of shapes. Good. And let's put our hands down now and come back now to downward dog. And we're just going to breathe here. We're going to inhale and exhale 5 times. And here I'd like us to think about actually doing a little bit of a pelvic tilt. That will help our heels come down slightly. And it's a little bit more of a natural position for our pelvis in the downward dog. I always used to tilt my tailbone up, but I've started to think about tilting my pelvis down, doing a little bit of a pelvic tilt. And it allows my heels to come down. It also allows my thighs to come back further. And here I'm just breathing. I'm feeling the strength and the stability of this movement. So Sthira and Sukha are those lovely oppositional complementary yoga principles of strength and sweetness or ease. Good. And now we're going to walk halfway forward and just dangle here. And you can hold onto your elbows and frame your head with your arms. And just allow yourself to dangle. You could, of course, have bent knees if that's more comfortable for you. And if you have bent knees, you might want to straighten one and then another, or move towards straightening, just to give yourself a little more flexibility here. Good. And now we're going to bend our knees, and we're going to come up with our arms over our head in that framed position. And then we're going to just lift our arms up and lift our chest up. Now let's open our arms out, and I'm just going to move this back so that you can see me. Let's open our arms out. Oopsie. And put them behind you and clasp your hands. So we're just opening our arms out and clasping our hands behind us and lifting our chest up. And you can widen your stance if you like slightly. Good. This feels very good, I have to say, in the morning. All right, so let's lift your arms up again and look up, and then draw your hands back and take the opposite clasp with a different thumb up. So you'll be able to clasp your hands differently here. It's very awkward for me. And once again, you're lifting your chest up. And you're drawing your navel towards your spine here. Feeling a hug in your lower abdomen. Good. Let's open our arms up again. Look up. And then bring our feet together. We're just going to go into a vinyasa here. So let's look up. Open our arms out, exhaling. Feeling that invitation to be open. And we're going to dangle here for a moment. Good. Now draw your hands up and we'll do a halfway lift, inhaling. And then exhaling to the ground. And then the left leg back and dropping your knee to the ground and looking up. And then hands to the ground, other leg back, and we're in plank now. And we're just going to, stay here for a moment, thinking and not thinking, being open, welcoming in what it means to invite something new into your life. And you may have a sense of what that might be. Good. Now we're going to go down in chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin. I'm going down quite slowly. And then I'm going to come up into either a low cobra or an upward dog. So you decide what you want to do. And now we're turning our toes under and coming back into a downward dog. And once again, I'm just going to rotate my hips slightly, pedal my feet, move my shoulders, loosen my neck, let my head drop in this very loosey-goosey downward dog, just breathing, just opening up. Pressing your thighs back, slightly tilting that pelvis forward, and really opening up in this pose. Good. I'm going to just take my left leg up and bring it forward into a low lunge with my knee on the ground, coming up here and looking up. And then I'm putting my hands on the ground, and I'm going to reach around, and this I find very painful, but I'm going to pick up that ankle and to see how it feels. You might want to put something underneath your knee, as it's can be painful on your knee, so that we are stretching out the front of the thigh, and it's a challenging move. Good. And now I'm just going to come back here and stretch out the hamstring. And then I'm going to do that again, stretching out the front of the thigh. And now I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to come forward and just stretch out this hip flexor. I have my hands on the inside of my foot, so that I'm in what is potentially a lizard pose. So if we want to do a lizard pose, we can keep our knee on the ground, or we can plant our toes into the ground and lift our back heel up. And lift our thigh up and really stretch that. If you like, you can remain here, or you could come down. You could also be up on blocks if that suits you, or you can come down onto your elbows and really feel that stretch. Feel that you're opening up, inviting in. And let's put that knee down and come back up and come with the heel up. Once again, you could hold onto your toes. And I'm going to come back here one last time, stretching that hip flexor and lifting my chest up here. Good. And now I'm putting my hand down. I'm lifting the back knee off, and I'm going to move into a twist here. Lifting the back thigh up. You could have the back knee on the ground and lifting my arm up. Very nice. Now let's just move that foot back so that we're back into our tabletop. And I'm going to draw the other knee forward and work again on this hip flexor. The bent knee, you're opening here, and the hip flexor, you're opening on the inside. Good. And now we're just going to come back here, and we're going to come up here, lift our chest up, and open up that hip flexor. And then we're going to come back and fold forward. And once again, we're going to open up that hip flexor. And this time, we're also going to come back to that rather excruciating, so I have to come down and muscle my way into it, that opening up of that thigh. And here you can hold on to your front knee and lift up. And I am very asymmetrical in these poses, so this side is much easier, but you'll have your own side to work with. And we want to work with all parts of our body. I'm putting that down and coming back here and putting my foot forward. And you can just go back and forth here a few times. I just have to turn off this alarm. So we're moving back and forth here, really feeling the lovely opening. Good. So here we're going to go, I'm back on the right side, or the left side here, whatever side you're on now. And I'm just going to, once again, lift up that back knee and stretch up. Very nice. Really feel yourself pressing into the back heel, lifting the back thigh up. You can turn the front knee out if you like, and the front foot out, so you're on the side of the front foot, or you can plant your foot down. You decide what works for you. Good, and we're breathing here, welcoming in whatever it is that is knocking at our door. Good. And let's put our hand down here so that we're in, once again, that lizard pose. You could have your knee down, or you can lift it up. And here I'm feeling a really lovely stretch in my groin and in my hip, in my front hip flexor. And I'm going to come down onto my elbows here, although it's more difficult on this side. And here we can welcome something deliberate into our field. Maybe it's just our breath. A new breath. Every moment anew. All right, and let's drop that back knee. Come back, we'll lift that heel up again. And bring that foot back and come back into a child's pose just for a moment. Stretching our arms out, moving our arms towards the right, stretching that left, the left arm forward and the left hip back. And moving ourselves towards the left, stretching that right arm forward and the right hip back. Good. And let's stretch out into the center of our child's pose and then lift up, turn our toes under and come back into downward dog again. And let's come forward into our plank and just stabilize here. And here you want to press out through your heels, your thighs are moving up. You're trying to keep your entire spine on the same diagonal. And now let's go down chaturanga and then up into upward dog or cobra. And then back into our downward dog. You might want to widen your feet out. And if you're like, while you're here, you could move forward and back. So you decide what you want to do. You can stay in your downward dog, breathing, inhaling, and exhaling. Or you can come forward into your upward dog, and then back, pushing back. And I'm going to do that a few more times, just really feeling the flowing of energy in my body. And then back into downward dog. And I'm breathing here. Now I'm going to walk my hands back towards my feet and just dangle here for a moment. And once again, I'm going to frame my head with my arms by holding onto my elbows and just dangling. I'm going to move my hips around a bit here. And now I'm just going to roll my spine out vertebra by vertebra. Once again, I'm lifting that framed head up and bringing my feet together, standing in mountain pose. Lifting my arms up now, and then drawing them behind me, clasping my hands behind me, and opening the chest up. And here I'm going to move my arms around in a kind of infinity sign here, giving some fluidity to my shoulder. And now I'm going to move my hips as well, moving them around and back, and then the other way. So it's a kind of multiple movements in all directions. Imagining that we're inviting in a possibility we haven't even dreamed of yet. Some kind of affirming possibility. Good, let's open our arms up now and look up and come back to the front of our mat. We're just going to do another sun salutation here, just because we can. Let's open up and then exhale down. And then one leg back, the other leg back into a plank, and then lower down. And then lift up into upward dog, and then downward dog. Lift that left leg up, and then bring it forward, dropping your knee, lifting all the way up, inhaling, exhaling, drawing the back leg forward, and lifting all the way up. Exhaling into mountain pose, and we'll do the other side. Inhale, lift up, exhale, forward fold, inhale, halfway lift, exhale, all the way down. The other leg back, drop the knee, lifting up, inhaling, exhaling, framing the front foot, drawing your foot back into plank. And now we're going to go down and lift up into your upward dog. And let's just hold it here for a moment, breathing. Feeling your chest moving through your arms. Turn the toes under, exhaling into downward dog for a few breaths here. And here once again, let's tilt our tailbone back, and then let's move us slightly the other way so that we are actually doing a bit of a pelvic tilt forward. And see if that helps you bring your feet down a little bit more. I'm pressing back on my thighs, I'm pressing into my palms, into my fingers, into all of the finger mounds. My index finger, my thumb. Good. And let's lift the other leg up and bring it forward. And then back knee forward. We're going to have a short dangle here. Just breathing. Inhaling and exhaling, and now up we come. And then down. Good. All right. So I feel invigorated now. I feel ready for almost anything. Okay, so we're just going to do a few standing poses. We'll just work with our quite familiar poses here. I have a block here because I'm going to go into pyramid. So I'm facing the short end of the mat, and I have my feet about 3 feet apart, hips facing the short end of the mat. And I'm simply going to tilt forward from my hips. And here I can just dangle forward over my leg. Now you might have 2 blocks here, which is perfectly fine. It's excellent. And I'm just going to come forward with my fingers onto the ground. And I'm drawing that front hip back. And I'm pressing back through the back thigh. And I'm going to lift the toes on both my feet just to spark my arches. And then I'm going to spread my toes out to give myself a real grounding here. And I'm letting my head dangle. My arms are dangling down. And now I'm going to put in this case, I have left foot forward, right hand. And I'm just going to twist towards that front leg and lift that arm up into a reverse triangle. So you decide what is good for you. This might not be good for you. You might be better just to stay in your pyramid pose or come up. And now I'm just going to rotate up like a windmill, oops, and come up. Very good. Very nice. Let's try the other side because we can. Happily, we have two sides. We get to do everything twice, at least, sometimes more. So once again, the block is on the inside of the front foot, or you could have several blocks here. 3 feet back. And we're turning towards the short end of the mat. And we're lifting up here. And now we're going to come forward over our hips, our hip crease here. And we're just going to dangle down here. And I'm pressing the thigh back, lifting the toes up, the arches, feeling the toe mounds. And the weight is distributed in a good way. And you'll find yourself, you'll know your own body. And this side for me is much more demanding. So I'm patient with myself and loving. I love the way my body develops in all kinds of mysterious and asymmetrical ways. Now I'm pressing my hand into that block now, and I'm rotating towards the front knee, and I'm going to lift the arm up and see if I can just keep rotating my chest around. Breathing here, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. And now I'm going to windmill myself around and come up. Good. Very nice. So let's just jiggle ourselves a little bit. And let's open our legs out and come forward. So I'm putting my fingers on my hip creases. I have my feet facing forward here, and I'm just dipping over the front. Now here I could have 2 blocks here to hold on to, or I could just tilt over and come forward. So I'm going to bend one knee, and then I'm going to bend the other knee, and one knee, and the other knee. And if you like, you can put your feet, you're facing on the diagonal, and when you come to one side, you can walk your fingers along and lift your heel up, and then you can walk to the other side and lift the other heel up. You might be up here, walking your blocks back and forth. Good. Now I'm just going to walk my hands forward either with blocks or my hands on the ground, stretching my arms out. I'm rotating my toes towards the long end of the mat so that they're perpendicular to the long end of the mat. And I'm just resting here, breathing. And here I'm actually working here. I'm sort of doing a little bit of a tilting my tailbone up here, and that will strengthen the stretch in your groin. And you can bend one knee and then the other if it suits you. Only if it suits you. Some people have wonky knees and it's difficult. So let's walk our hands back between our feet and just dangle our head here. This is a preparation for a tripod headstand. So you could put a block underneath the crown of your head and imagine that you are going to make a big change and come upside down onto your tripod hands and the crown of your head.
This is a lovely inversion here. Now I'm walking my hands out, I'm moving the block, and I'm going to put my hands, you can either put your hands on your hips here, or you can stretch your arms out. Either way, you're going to tilt yourself up into an upright position. Very nice. And here we have a lovely stretch in many directions. Let's open our arms out to a V, and we'll be in pentangle position, which is a yin yoga pose that you do on the floor. Opening up in 4 directions. Good. Let's wiggle our feet in here and open our feet out slightly. And now we're just going to bend down into that fabulous goddess position. Here we go. And we are finding a good footing here, a good way to move down. And we can think about moving down slowly and opening our arms back so that we actually we're drawing our shoulder blades together here. Really open our arms back and then put them just in your peripheral vision here. Let's open the arms back, drawing those shoulder blades together, and then making sure that your arms are in your peripheral vision. Good. And let's come up and go back down into that goddess position. We deserve to be goddesses this morning. All right. Very nice. Open your arms out. Give yourself a nice hug, drawing your fingers towards your spine, and then opening out one more time. Another lovely hug. Good. Let's stretch our arms up, down, and our legs up. And now we're going to make our way onto our mat. And you find your way. We're going to work with just some closing back movements here. Supine movements on our back. They'll be very familiar to you. So we're going to lift our knees up, clasp them, and stretch both our legs out. We can press up through our heels, and then we can just let go and let them all dangle. We can stretch our arms up very loosely and our legs, and we can just allow ourselves just to really let go here and to invite in a deliberate way, whatever affirmative thoughts, breaths you have in you at this point in the class. Good. Now let's just stretch our arms and legs up and open our arms out, bend our knees in, and drop our knees towards the left. And here we're trying to keep both of our shoulders on the ground and look over at the opposite hand. You could place your other hand on your thigh gently if you want a little bit more of an added twist. And we're breathing here. Inhaling and exhaling. And now we're going to come back and move into the other direction with our knees, dropping them over, feeling that sense of twist, of release, looking at the opposite hand. You can place the other hand on your thigh to give you a little added twist here. Breathing into those open ribs. And let's come back again here. Lifting our legs, let's lift our legs straight up again. Good. And let's lower one leg to the ground, straight with our heel pressing through our heels, and lift that up. And let's lower the other one to the ground. Good. And let's see if we can lower both to the ground towards the ground anyway, as far as you can go. And then lifting up. And let's clasp our knees here, drawing our hands through into happy baby, holding the soles of our feet towards the ceiling into a lovely squat, upside down squat. Listen to your body. How is it feeling? What is it telling you? And now let's put our feet to the ground and just gently roll we're drawing our feet towards our glutes here, pressing into the mat with our feet and just rolling, tilting our pelvis up and rolling up here. And if you like, you can hold on to clasp your hands underneath you and lift up into a bridge, pressing into your heels, pressing your thighs up, your pelvis up, your chest up, and breathing here. Good. And now let's roll down, drop our knees into our chest one more time, roll back and forth slightly, massaging your spine, your sacrum. And then you can put your feet on the ground, extend your legs out, and extend your arms out into, you can lift your shoulders up and drop them down. And you can lift your arms up and drop them down. Your legs up. And roll your head from side to side. You can imagine that your flesh is actually just quite slack, so that whatever tension there is in your body is simply flowing out of you onto the ground. You can feel the lines on your forehead disappear as you exhale. You can feel the skin on your scalp letting go, the skin on your cheeks. Your mouth will drop open slightly. Your tongue might descend into your lower jaw. You can roll your head back and forth, side to side, a few times. And then just invite that deep relaxation and that release into your body. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. You can search through the entire universe for someone who is more deserving of your love and affection than you are yourself. And that person is not to be found anywhere. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection, said the Buddha. You can search through the entire universe for someone who is more deserving of your love and affection than you are yourself. And that person is not to be found anywhere. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection.
And I'm going to invite you to feel your breath filling up your entire body from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers to the crown of your head. Inviting in a new day filled with possibilities. And in your own time, you can draw your knees into your chest. And roll onto your side and come to a sitting position. Well, the teacher in me is grateful to the teacher in you, and the student in me is grateful to the student in you. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Deep bows.